How's it going, everybody? I've been gone for about 3 days. Well, yeah, I think I did a Saturday's Bible study on Friday. So here we are, Sunday evening. So it's been 2+ days. Where am I at in the King James? Let's just go with it. And when he had entered into the house from the people, his disciples asked him concerning the parable. And he said unto them, Are you so without understanding also? Do you not perceive that whosoever thing from without entereth into a man cannot defile him? Let's go ahead and read it in the New Living. So when you had talked about what defiles a man is what comes out, not what goes in. So it's not no longer what you eat or anything like that. It's the thoughts, it's your eyes, it's your mouth. What comes out? What are you looking at? What are you focused on when you speak? What are you speaking about? Money, sex, if you're not married. So food doesn't go into your heart, but it only passes through the stomach and then goes into the sewer. By saying this, he declared that every kind of food is acceptable in God's eyes. Well, there you go. You're no longer under the Torah laws. And then he added, what comes from the inside that defiles you? From within, out of the person's heart, come evil thoughts, sexual immorality. Well, there we go. We were just talking about it. Theft, murder, adultery, greed, wickedness, deceit, lustful desires, envy, slander, pride, and foolishness. All these things, vile things, come from within. They are what defile you. Faith is a Gentile woman. So, not of a Jewish bloodline, this lady. When Jesus left Galilee, he went north to the region of Tyre. There's different forms of the word Gentile, they have different meanings, so you have to look into the context. Jesus left Galilee, went north to the region of Tyre. He didn't want anyone to know which house he was staying in, but he couldn't keep it a secret. Right away, a woman who had heard about him came and fell at his feet. So this lady obviously knows who he is because she's called to it. It's not a free will decision. Her little girl was possessed by an evil spirit, and she begged him to cast the demon out from her daughter. Since she was a Gentile born in Syrian, I'm sorry, I was looking at something else and lost focus. Born in Syrian Phoenicia, I think it's called Phoenicia. I can't even remember. Jesus told her, and I apologize. Jesus told her, first, I should feed the children of my own family, the Jewish bloodline. It isn't right to take food from the children and throw it to the dogs. Of course, we'll get to the rest tomorrow. There's quite a bit more to it. And it's what you think. I mean, we probably should have read it in the King James, but we'll read it in the King James. Hopefully remember to do that tomorrow. Let's go to Revelation, finish 10, get into 11. And he said unto me, thou must prophesy again before many peoples and nations and tongues and kings. And there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood, saying, rise and measure the temple of God and the altar and them that worship therein. But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles. And again, this Gentiles means goats. And the holy city shall tread. The other one just meant not of the Jewish bloodline. So again, isn't that weird that one Bible study also speaks to the other in a teachable situation? And measure it not, for it is given to the goats in the holy city. They shall tread under it 42 months. But Jesus, don't forget, says, lest I cut those days short, no flesh would be saved. So all timelines in the end times, in my opinion, I'm not dogmatic about it, they're very ambiguous because Jesus makes one blanket statement. Lest I cut those days short, no flesh would be saved. Matthew 24. It's 24:22. And except those days should be shortened. What days? All the timeline days in the Bible, 42 months, 1260 days. Yeah. There should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. What days? The days that are given in the Bible, the daily timelines. If not, then what days is he talking about? Why doesn't he just say that there's no appointed days, and we just read that there are? 42 months. Just read it, didn't we? It's not going to let me undo that. Oh, well. And 42 months. I lost my train of thought. What was I thinking? What was I doing? Except those days should be shortened. No flesh would be saved, but for, the sheep, the days will be shortened. Anyway. And I will give power unto my church, as I am calling them kings and priests. That's what the two witnesses are. It's the church divided into two, just like the church divided into seven candlesticks. They are repped by what? Two candlesticks. And how is the church referred to at the beginning of Revelation? We are all kings and priests. Twice. We are all kings and priests. Revelation. So Revelation 1:6, Revelation 5:10. Two separate places. The church is referred to as kings and priests. And he hath made us kings and priests unto God and his Father. To him be glory and dominion forever and ever. Amen. It's church. Let's read it again. He has made us unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. During the 1,000-year millennial reign. So the two candlesticks is the church, kings and priests, standing before the God of the earth. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth and devour their enemies. And if any man shall hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. These have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn them into blood. This is kind of wrath of God, post wrath of God. The church has been sealed, kind of thing. I would imagine very supernatural. It's we can't even comprehend as the earth starts to turn supernatural. I suspect on some level playing during the four horses, but when the Antichrist returns and performs the abomination of desolation, God will send them a strong delusion. They will believe that. It becomes extremely supernatural because the false prophet makes fire flash down from heaven to the earth and decide a man. He's performing miracles. It clearly states. And so the earth will be extremely supernatural. And we will also have this type of power at some level after the great trib, after the Lord puts a stop to the great tribulation and begins his wrath. So this is sort of what you would call figurative speech, that we can shut heaven and earth and all of that. Before the great tribulation. That's just, it's figurative language, in my opinion. These have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn them to blood, to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill him. Well, that's the great trib. The beast that ascendeth out of the bottom, he makes war against them. What does it say in Daniel 7:25 or 7:21? Shall make war with the saints. What does it say in 7:25? And shall wear out the saints. This is the cleansing process. The church is getting cleansed. There's more on that later. We'll continue it because it talks about how they're then removed, the rapture. But remember, it's a post-tribulation rapture. All right. Love you very much. Ask questions anytime. That's what I'm here for.